we're going to study about the semiconductor. Actually, semiconductor materials having an intermediate electric conductivity between conductor and insulator. Like they're between the conductor and insulators. A perfect pure semiconductor crystal containing no impurities is called an intrinsic semiconductor. So we will study about the semiconductors here. The first type of them is intrinsic, and the second type is extrinsic. Then they have more two types actually. So intrinsic is a pure conductor, pure semiconductor with no type of impurities. Actually, they're having zero impurities or one impurities less than one impurities are there. So intrinsic is just like the like we're gonna get the example of silicon. The silicon is gonna have the four electrons in valence shell. So four electrons are there, so it still need about four electrons to complete its shell. Like here it need one, here it need one, here it need one, and here it need one actually. So it is not gonna cause the things the energy, the electrons to flow if it's not having the complete or just like. So it will have the conduction there if it's gonna have the electrons here, like the vacancy of electron is there, so it's gonna have the things. It's a semiconductor which is a pure semiconductor. If external field cannot cause a current to flow, so the semiconductor nearly zero Kelvin behave as an insulator actually. So some semiconductors how they're gonna behave in the uh, high temperature and how the things are gonna be there. So if there are some more electrons, they are like there's and just openly they're in the air arm, so they're gonna attract it, so it will go there, but it needs a specific temperature to go there actually. So semiconductor at high temperature, like it needs about 0.72 electron volt germanium for germanium or 1 per 1 electron volt for silicon actually. So actually, if we are gonna add the things like we're gonna do the things like doping there. Doping is a process which is gonna cause the impurities in this pure conductor actually, pure conductor. This is called doping process. So doping is like a process when you're gonna add some impurities into this whole substance. Like this is a pure silicon, but you're gonna add now the impurities actually. So how the doping works for the things we're gonna study now. Actually, there are two things. One is a conduction band, and one is like conduction band in silicon is like silicon is having only four electrons in its valence shell, so it needs four more electrons to complete its shell. So the electrons here are in the outer surface are known as conduction band. So they're actually conducting. So they are needed for it. So now, what are the N types and P types, or what is the extrinsic semiconductors? Extrinsic are which are gonna have the impurities. So in intrinsic, so they will become extrinsic. Extrinsic actually. So we are gonna do the things like we're gonna study about N type of conductors, semiconductors now. So what is N type of semiconductor? Which means a negative type of semiconductors. So negative type of semiconductor include a pentavalent impurity. Pentavalent impurity means that they're gonna have the substances from the fifth group of periodic table. So let's say if you're gonna have the silicon here, like silicon is gonna have the four of its electrons here, and one of them is like uh, from a fifth group, we are gonna have another substance, another metal, you can say another thing which is going to be there, like phosphorus now. So phosphorus is obviously going to have the five electrons in the upper shell. So if we're going to add them here, like here's the phosphorus, here's the phosphorus, here's the phosphorus, and here's the phosphorus, till one phosphorus will be there which is in the which is yours, which is in the conduction band, like it will be theirs for conduction actually. So phosphorus has actually been there. So phosphorus is actually acting as a negative substance because it's an electron. And the N type of semiconductor, just like the negative substances are there. So one electron is actually there. So what is the positive type of semiconductor? We're gonna study about them now. Let us go for the positive, like p-type semiconductors, if you're going to study about them. So let's say if you're going to have the silicons, and the silicon is only having the four siliconic atoms there. So what about the one which is aluminum, and it is having the trivalent elements. Trivalent elements from the third group are actually causing it to be doped. So it's gonna have the here's it will be it's gonna be have aluminum. Here it's gonna be have the aluminum. Here also gonna be have the aluminum. But one place is actually been there which is empty, which is known as a hole. And the hole is actually a positive thing, so we are calling call it as positive type of semiconductors. So there are acceptors like hole is a acceptor actually. Because it's actually positive is gonna cause it a negative, so it's acceptor core, and there are more things, more some simple type of abbreviations are there, like impurity atoms. Impurity atoms are like the things that we're going to add here, like aluminum, etc. So these are known as the impurity elements. So this was a whole thing which we need to learn about the p-type semiconductor and conductors, and it's for now.